If you're training for any sport and want to improve, you'll eventually face the topic of nutrition. Training hard and recovering properly are both essential for performance, but what you put into your body to fuel it is just as important. However, when you first hear about calories, macronutrients, micronutrients, intake, metabolism, and so on, without any real explanation, things can quickly become confusing. But just like in any other field, understanding the basics can take you a long way. And that's why today I will be explaining the fundamentals of nutrition. That way you'll be able to start dealing with your diet and work effectively toward your goals. Before we start, here are two important notes. First, I'll simplify the concepts I'm about to present so that any beginner can understand them easily. I'll use examples, I'll give definitions, I'll break down each topic to make everything clear, so don't expect advanced physiology or complex scientific studies here. Second, if you have goals related to performance, body, or health, and if you want to, if you can afford it, working with a nutritionist is the best way to have your diet fully optimized. Now that these points are clear, let's define three key terms that often causes confusion but are the fundamentals of nutrition: calories, macronutrients, and micronutrients. 1. Calories. A calorie is simply a unit of energy. That's it. Calories give energy that your body needs to stay alive and function. Number 2, macronutrients, also called macros. They're the three main types of nutrients: proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. These three are the nutrients that contains the calories I talked about previously. 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, 1 gram of carbohydrates equals 4 calories as well, and 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. And 3, micronutrients, which are another group of nutrients different from the macros we talked about, that don't contain any calories. So to make it simple, they have no energy value. Still, they're very important for your body's health and proper functioning. They include vitamins, for example. Before going further, let's establish a key fact that will serve as foundation for everything else. Your body uses energy for everything it does. From a single heartbeat to a full sprint, it consumes energy, which, as I said, is brought by calories. When you're resting, your body burns a small amount of calories, and the more active you are, the more calories it will burn. And this applies to everything. Your daily activities like walking the dog, doing chores, taking the stairs, and so on. Your job or studies, especially if it involves walking, standing, or carrying stuff, and of course, your sport training. On the other hand, if your job involves sitting all day, if you spend all of your free time lying down, and if you don't train any sport, your daily caloric expenditure will be much lower. From this fact, we can define the well-known caloric balance. As I said before, food gives you energy through calories, and your activity will burn this energy. The first rule of nutrition is that your body weight will be determined by the caloric balance. In simple terms, if by the end of the day you've consumed more calories than you've burned, then your body has to store the excess and you will gain weight, so muscle or fat, for example. In the other case, if you spent more calories than you've consumed, then your body will have to find the missing calories, and to do so will get into your stocks, and that will lead to weight loss. So once again, it might be muscle or it might be fat, depending on the situation. This rule is always true, no matter what you eat. So yes, technically, you could gain weight by eating only salad or lose weight by eating only burgers. Now, that would be impractical because each food has what we call caloric density. So for example, the number of calories per 100 grams. Let's say you would need to eat 15 kg, so over 30 pounds of salad each day just to reach your maintenance calories. Not really practical, right? And in addition, it would not be a great idea, and this is where macronutrients come into play. As mentioned earlier, there are three types of macronutrients, each with a specific role in your body. The second rule of nutrition is that your macronutrient intake combined with your daily activity will determine your body composition. So to make it simple, your muscle to body fat ratio. Here's an example. If you're in a caloric surplus, so consuming more calories than you burn, then, as we said, you'll gain weight. But if you eat very little protein and don't do any specific activity, most of the weight you'll gain will be fat. On the other hand, if you have a small caloric surplus, that you consume enough protein, and that you have an activity that strengthens your muscle, most of that weight gain will come in the form of muscle growth. The same logic applies to weight loss. You first need to make sure that you're in a caloric deficit, so spending more calories than you consume, and then check that your macronutrients intake, a daily activity, can help you maintain your muscle mass. If you consume enough protein, which is essential for muscle maintenance, and if you do some regular resistance training, your body will understand that the muscles are trained and therefore needed, so it will protect them when losing weight. So when you're gaining weight, you'll build muscle, that's called the bulk. And when you're losing weight, you lose mostly fat while maintaining your muscle mass, that's called a cut. 3 macronutrients. I won't go into the detail of every vitamin and mineral to explain what they do, how they work, and where you can find them. That would take hours, if not days. Just remember this simple rule: eat fruits and vegetables and change them up regularly. That is a great basic, a great starting point for a healthy and balanced diet. To sum it up, if you want to lose weight while maintaining your muscle mass, be in a caloric deficit, consume enough protein, and do some resistance training. On the other hand, if you want to gain weight, be in a caloric surplus, and if your goal is to build muscle, consume enough protein as well, and do some resistance training as well. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, suggestions, or anything else, feel free to drop a comment down below. And if you want to contact me straight through my social medias, the links are in the description. I'll see you next Sunday, and until then, train hard, stay consistent, and never forget, make yourself proud.